The Daphne-class diesel-electric submarines have a long story with glories and unfortunate events. They served in 5 navies, two of which used these boats in combat missions. Today, we're investigating the Daphne-class, the first submarine to sink a surface warship after the Second World War. The Daphne-class has a special place in the history of naval warfare. Defined by the French as sous-marin à haute performance with a ton, meaning 800-ton high-performance submarine, it successfully participated in combat missions in the Atlantic and Indian Oceans. On the contrary, the peacetime operations of the Daphne-class witnessed many tragic incidents. The story of the Daphne-class goes back to the end of the Second World War. On May 9, 1945, the German Type 21 class U-boat U-2518 surrendered to British forces at Horten Naval Base in Norway. 1 year later, she was transferred to France. After repairment and modifications, the French Navy commissioned the submarine on February 14, 1951, and renamed her as FS Roland Moriot. Using this experience, France initiated the E-48 project based on the Type 21 class and designed the 1,600-ton ocean-going Narwal class in the early 1950s. Compared to the German U-boat, the Narwal class had a new snorkel, detection systems, extended range, and double the test depth. Also, thanks to its new propellers, it was quieter. Even though it shared many design features of the Narwal class, the next 550-ton Aratus class was an entirely new model which was specifically designed for operations in the Mediterranean Sea. Its study phase was originated in 1948, but the construction of the submarine began in 1955. The 800-ton Daphne class was an enlarged version of the Aratus class. It could operate in both shallow waters and oceans. The first of its class, FS Daphne, was laid down on March 1958, launched on June 20, 1959, and commissioned on June 1, 1964. The forward diving planes were below the midplane of the hull and operated by tilting. They could not retract or fold up. The double-hulled Daphne class could cruise 56 hours underwater without snorkeling. Air was enough for the crew for 206 hours when the machinery did not work. The endurance of the submarine was 30 days. The early Daphne-class submarines of the French Navy had two 1,225 horsepower SEMT Pillstick 12 PA1 diesel engines. The last two boats were equipped with the SEMT Pillstick 12 PA4V 185s. The export variants of the submarine also had this engine. Initially, the ears of the Daphne-class consisted of the DSUV-2 passive sonar and the DUU-X2 passive range-finding system. In 1971, the submarine was fitted with the DUUA 2D active search sonar housed in a distinctive large dome on the nose. During this modernization, the Daphne class also received the DLT-D3 torpedo control system, which allowed tracking 8 targets, simultaneous guidance of 2 wire-guided torpedoes, and preparation for the launch of a third. Thanks to these changes, the submarine gained the capability of launching the 550mm F-17 wire-guided anti-ship torpedoes with an 18-kilometer range. The Daphne class could also use the French-made 550mm E-12, E-14, E-15, L-3, and L-5 torpedoes. The E-12 and E-15 had a range of 12 kilometers, while the E-14 and L-3 had a 5.5 kilometers. The active passive homing L-5 could reach a distance of 9.5 kilometers. The Daphne class had 8 tubes in the bows for full-length torpedoes used to attack. Its stern ones were all in the outer casing outside the pressure hull, with 2 right aft launching over the propeller and 2 further forward and angled outwards at about 20 degrees. They held only shortened torpedoes for self-defense. The submarine did not have a torpedo room or reload. The Daphne-class had the IJ-band DRUA-33, which is also known as the Calypso radar. It could only be used while the submarine was on the surface. The radar, with 18 kilometers range, performed air surface search and navigation functions. In 1964, Portugal became the first customer of the submarine and ordered 4 Daphne-class boats, which was defined as the Albacora in this country. The first of them, NRP Albacora, was laid down on September 6, 1965, launched on October 13, 1966, and commissioned on October 1, 1967. The third submarine, NRP Cachalochi, was sold to Pakistan in 1977. Unlike the French sisters, the Albacora had the I-band Calvin Hughes Type 1007 radar. Pakistan acquired 3 Daphne-class boats from France. Also, as mentioned before, NRP Cachalochi was bought from Portugal. The Pakistan Navy defined these submarines as the Hangor class. The first of them, PNS Hangor, was laid down on December 1, 1967, launched on June 28, 1969, and commissioned on January 12, 1970. The Pakistani submarines had the DUUA-1 active passive searchlight sonar and the I-band DRUA-31 surface search and navigation radar. Besides the French-made 550mm ones, they could use the 533mm wire-guided SUT torpedoes with 30 km range. After the modernization, the Hangor class gained the capability of launching the UGM-84 sub-harpoon anti-ship missile. So, they could attack a target at a distance of over 120 kilometers. These submarines could also lay the Stonefish sea mines. The first submarine of the South African Navy was the Daphne-class, defined as the Maria van Riebeeck class in this country. The first of 3 boats, SAS Maria van Riebeeck, was laid down on March 14, 1968, launched on March 18, 1969, and commissioned on June 18, 1970. In 1992, these submarines were fitted with locally developed sonars and periscopes. After the apartheid regime ended, SAS Maria van Riebeeck, SAS Emily Hobose, and SAS Johanna van der Merwe were renamed as SAS Speer, SAS Imkondu, and SAS Asser respectively. In 1964, Spain ordered 4 Daphne-class boats, defined as the S-60 class in this country. The first of them, SPS Delphin, was laid down on August 13, 1968, launched on March 25, 1972, and commissioned on May 3, 1973. The complement of the Daphne-class was 53 persons. The submarine had a length of 57.8 meters, a beam of 6.8 meters, and a draught of 4.6 meters. Its surface displacement was 860 tons, while its submerged displacement was 1,038 tons. The propulsion system consisted of 2 1,225 horsepower SEMT Pillstick 12 PA4 V185 diesel engines. Its maximum surface speed was 13.5 knots, while its maximum submerged speed was 16 knots. The Daphne-class could reach a range of 10,000 nautical miles at a speed of 7 knots. The submarine had a maximum diving depth of 300 meters. The service history of the Daphne-class in the French Navy is full of unfortunate accidents. In 1964, FSDN suddenly sank 48 meters in an unexplained way while she cruised at 55 meters depth near the Spanish coasts. The submarine was not harmed, but the incident naturally caused severe fear among the crew. On November 25, 1966, FS Doris collided with the Soviet tanker Stanislav. On January 27, 1968, during an exercise, FS Minerve disappeared southeast of Cape Sissi at a depth of 1,500 to 2,000 meters. All crew members lost their lives. The cause of the incident is still not clear. The most likely scenarios are a failure of the diving rudder or a snorkel leakage. On March 4, 1970, the French Navy lost FS Eurydice, this time due to an explosion. The cause of the incident was never determined. The most probable is a collision at a very shallow depth with a Tunisian freighter, the Debarca. The second theory is the failure of the diving rudder. On August 20 of the same year, two Daphné-class submarines, FS Galati and SAS Maria van Riebeeck, collided. Both boats were severely damaged. 1 year later, near Toulon, FS Fleur Snorkel sprang a leak due to a faulty valve. The engine broke down, the compartment flooded, and the submarine was forced to drop its safety seals to be surfaced. On May 9, 1980, FS Jeannon collided with a trawler. On October 22, 1983, a fatal explosion occurred in the battery room of FS Doris. The Spanish Navy also witnessed some misfortunes. On June 10, 1976, SPS Narval suffered an accident while submerged when a valve blew out. Despite these accidents, the Daphne-class also had some impressive records. FS Daphne cruised 300,000 nautical miles, or about 14 times around the Earth. During its 30 years of service, SPS Delphin made over 2,500 voyages and stayed over 30,000 hours underwater. The Daphne-class also had an impressive combat career. During the 1971 Indo-Pakistani War, PNS Hangor became the first submarine to sink a surface warship since the Second World War. She sank the Indian Blackwood-class frigate INS Khukri on December 9, 1971. Following the INS Khukri sinking, INS Kirpan of the same class moved into the scene and began to throw depth charges onto PNS Hangor. But the submarine sent a third torpedo which hit INS Kirpan. The Indian frigate was not sunk but was heavily damaged. So INS Kirpan had to leave the battle scene. After this incident, the Indian Navy initiated a massive search and destroy mission. So, PNS Hangor submerged for almost a week. When she returned to Pakistan, her batteries were almost depleted. In the 1982 Falklands War, the British nuclear-powered submarine HMS Conqueror sunk the Argentine cruiser ARA General Belgrano. So, can we say the PNS Hangor has kept the title of being the first and only diesel-electric submarine that sank a warship since the Second World War? It is disputable. South Korea claims that a Yuno-class or a Sangho-class submarine of the North Korean Navy sunk a Pohang-class corvette ROKS Chanan on March 26, 2010. After the investigation, many Western experts support this claim, but China and North Korea do not accept it. So, we may say that PNS Hangor officially keeps the title. South Africa also used its Maria van Riebeeck class boat in combat, but in a different way. The South African Navy tasked these submarines with special forces operations. In 1972, SAS Emily Hobose landed a special forces group near Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, to place explosive on a bridge next to power lines and other targets around town. In 1975, just before Operation Savannah, SAS Johanna van der Merwe was deployed into Angolan waters under Operation Ricekas to prepare for the evacuation of the South African military personnel. In 1984, the South African Defense Force initiated Operation Nobilis to destroy the Angolan Assa II-class missile boat. The secondary objective was to attack cargo vessels as long as they were not flying Soviet flags. SAS Johanna van der Merwe transported the Special Forces unit to Luanda. The South Africans did not find the Assa IIs in the harbor. However, they attacked the two cargo vessels, a 7,500-ton MV Aretsi and a 9,000-ton MV Lundoju. The first ship carrying heavy vehicles, artillery, and industrial cargo was sunk by two explosives set by the South Africans. MV Lundoju, carrying food and military equipment, was hit by the two explosions but managed to sail to a nearby quay before settling. FS Diane became the first decommissioned Daphne-class submarine on December 30, 1987. In 2010, the last boat of the class, NRP Barracuda of the Portuguese Navy, retired. FS Fleur, NRP Barracuda, PNS Hangor, SAS Asir, and SPS Delphin are now museum ships. Despite all the unfortunate events they've been through, the Daphne-class submarines also proved their values countless times. They patrolled on the most crucial sea lines, fought gallantly, and became the most trusted companion of the Special Forces units. The Daphne-class deserves to be mentioned as a true legend. Thanks for watching our video, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to be notified of our new videos. Also, you can now click the join button to support our channel. And as always, we would greatly appreciate all of your likes, comments, and shares.